All right, excellent. We have folks joining us. We'll give everybody a moment to join. Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Welcome. Good evening. All righty. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening to join us here at our SU virtual admitted student panel meet and greet. We're delighted to see you this evening and hopefully get as many questions answered that you may have about Syracuse over the next half hour or so. But first, let me just start off by saying congratulations on your admissions to Syracuse University. This is a fantastic achievement, wonderful job. And we really look forward to seeing you on campus beginning this fall. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So welcome again. My name is Ava. I am a doctoral student as well as an intern here at the Office of Admissions on a part-time basis. And I am joined by three phenomenal undergraduate students who are very excited to tell you about their experiences at Syracuse. I know them all super well, and let me tell you, folks, we've got an all-star cast lined up for you this evening with all-star answers and all-star experiences. So while you're thinking of your questions to ask, I will turn it over to them to introduce themselves. So Anna, why don't we start with you?
Well, hi everyone. It's so nice to meet you all. My name is Anna, like Ava was saying. I am a current senior here. I am a human development and family science double major in psychology. I am originally from Park Ridge, New Jersey, so a small town in northern New Jersey. Is there anything else you want us to say, Ava?
I think that sounds great. Maybe give a little bit of an overview of your extracurricular involvement.
Okay, so aside from the University 100, which is our student ambassador program, this past fall I was a senior intern. So I interviewed a number of students that are now going to be current freshmen here. So very excited. That was a really fun role I got to do in admissions. I am also a military and veteran learning scholar in the National Veterans Resource Center here. I am a part of the honors program here at Syracuse. I am a global ambassador because I studied abroad, and I'm on the ski team here.
Wow. Awesome, Anna. Thank you. Bijan.
Yeah, hi everyone, and congratulations on your acceptance. My name is Bijan. I'm a junior from Dallas, Texas. I'm a triple major in the Maxwell School. I'm majoring in political science, civic and community engagement, law, society, and policy. When I'm not on campus, which is now because I'm currently in DC, I am an ambassador for the College of Arts and Science in the Maxwell School. I'm a member of the University Senate, which is our governing body, and I do also do research here on campus.
Awesome. Javi.
Hi everyone, congratulations. I'm also a part of University 100, so I'm tour guide. And like Anna, I was a senior intern over the fall. So hey, if either Anna or I interviewed one of you guys, then probably did something right. Um, and yeah, on campus, I'm involved in Orange Seeds, which is a first year leadership and empowerment program. We do community service as well as professional development. And I'm also a member of the European Student Association. I'm an international student. I'm from Spain. If there's any international students there, I see you guys. Um, and yeah, my major, I'm a television, radio, and film major at the Newhouse School of Public Communications. And I'm minoring in entrepreneurship and in emerging enterprises in our Whitman School of Management. And I think that is all.
Wow. Awesome. That's great. I was just realizing that between the four of us here, I represent the graduate school. I have a physics background. Between all of us, we've got, I think, 80% of the school probably covered. Like we 10 degrees, seven schools and colleges, multiple countries, multiple time zones, campuses. I love it. So this is going to be a great discussion among all of you. So at this point, folks, we'll go ahead and start answering any of your questions. So attendees, you can access the Q&A feature located at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Simply click that, open it up, and you can type in questions that we can discuss again over the next half hour or so. any topic that you would like to know more about, we are happy to answer, from housing to academics, research. We have a lot of amazing study abroad and away experiences that we're happy to discuss here. So anything that you feel like you need to know more about as you embark upon this transition, hopefully to Syracuse, but even if you're still deciding, anything we can do to help inform your decision, just let us know. And without further ado, we already got some questions coming in, so we'll get started. So, this question I'd like to hear from all three of you because I'm sure there's going to be many answers here. So, starting with Anna, and we'll just go down the line again. The question is, what are some of your fun campus events or traditions that you look forward to every year?
Oh, okay. Well, I think Syracuse Welcome Week is
Mm-hmm.
just such a fun time. Like today during spring reception for our admitted students, I like to call it campus is defrosting, so to speak. So right after the dead winter has finally come to an end, we have all of that warm weather that comes back, and that spring coming in that is really similar to what it's like here in the fall during Welcome Week. So just the vibes on campus are something I really look forward to when the hammocks come out. My boyfriend had just walked to my house a little while ago, said he saw someone playing their guitar on their roof and throwing a baseball in the front yard, just like the poetic, picturesque things you imagine students doing outside on the grass and just enjoying their friends. Those are the really fun things I look forward to here in the fall and in the spring. And then I think Syracuse traditions. I'm trying to think. I think like the my favorite traditions are like honestly being a tour guide and getting to do all of the orange preview and spring reception things because those are the things that I've been participating in for a really long time. So I love being able to do that and welcome all of the new students here.
Awesome. Thanks, Anna. Bijan.
I'm gonna go kind of into fall, going into winter, the first big snowfall. There's a tradition we have Krause College, which sits on a huge hill, and students will slide down that hill, but without using a sled. So it's, you have to use something else. My freshman year, I used the top of my like huge container that I had in my dorm room. My roommate got in my container. We like pushed her down. Some of the boys on my floor used their mattresses, which I thought was really funny, but then I don't know where they slept that night because mattresses were wet with snow. But people just use like a bunch of different things, and it's just really fun seeing all the snowflakes. And everyone does this really late at night too, so it's kind of a good like bonding experience.
Hmm. Awesome. Javi.
I'd have to go with the first football game every school year. Usually, uh, last weekend of August, first weekend of September. Everyone is just like so happy, full of joy. Uh, you know what? At the end of the day, we might have a good football season. We might have not a great one. I've been pretty lucky my past few years here. Actually had like my junior year, we had like a historical season, and I went to every game. But I just remember going to my first Syracuse game freshman year. Um, like the weather was incredible. Everyone was just like so happy to be there. People who didn't watch football, didn't know the rules, came from another country like myself, like just went to the game. And it really showcased the spirit of the students here at Syracuse and the good weather, which we have for
Mhm.
for a larger part of the year than we make it seem.
Right, right. Absolutely. I would agree. Fall season at Syracuse is just, it's just stunning. There's no place like it in the country. People travel from all over the country and all over the world to experience a central New York fall. Stunning apple orchards, national award-winning apple orchards just 30 minutes south of campus. You really can't beat it. So I would agree with that fall spirit that you all are bringing up. And I want to stick with hobby for this next question that came up. So a student asks, how was your transition to Syracuse as an international student?
Well, growing up, I went to an American school back home in Spain. So my English was good. I'd had the opportunity to spend a semester in Minnesota when I was a sophomore in high school. So I had experience with American culture. Um, so for me, it was pretty seamless. It's also only a 6 hour time difference from my home, which is a big deal. I was in LA over the summer, and 6 hours versus 9 hours is a big difference. So for me, I was very lucky. It was very seamless. I was one of the first students to get here because before before the majority of the students come for welcome week, there is a week dedicated to international orientation. And there I just met a ton of other international students, became amazing friends with them early on. And that would sort of set my foundation for my social life on campus. And then as the semester progressed, I just kept making friends, but it was very early on. It was just an overall very positive experience meeting people that had shared experiences with me, and that just made me comfortable early on, and I just never lost the comfort.
Mhm. That's beautiful. Thanks, Javi. And I'll just say, for anybody who might be seeking additional resources in this process, we have a phenomenal and award-winning staff over at the Center for International Services who are really pioneering tons of great resources and opportunities for you that you can start taking advantage of, the summer before you get here. So any questions you have, feel free to reach out to them as well. You can just Google Syracuse Center for International Services and it'll pop right up. Awesome. So, Bijan, you had another type of transition to Syracuse coming from Texas. So, winter tips for folks who are not as familiar as maybe Anna or myself to this area.
North Face jackets, I swear by them. I got mine at home, but you can get them up here too. Destiny Mall has a lot of great clothing gear. And then I do UGG snow boots, and then I wear leggings pretty much under any pants I'm wearing. And all my friends who are from the Northeast always laugh at me, but I stay bundled up. And a scarf sometimes too, depending on the wind.
Right, right. Layering effectively is key. Very good. Awesome. So, Anna, jumping back to you, another big part of the transition to college for the first time that can, trigger a bit of anxiety or intimidation, but also a lot of excitement at the same time is living on campus, moving away from home potentially for the first time. So, Anna, can you give the folks listening a bit of an overview of the first year housing experience? There's specifically some questions about the roommate process as well.
Yeah. So for me, I actually came from an area where my high school had no Syracuse students really that came here aside from myself. But I lived in an area where there were a lot of private Catholic high schools near me, and there were a number of different students that came here. And so I ended up meeting my freshman year roommate on one of the graduation pages for those high schools. Because I had a number of different friends that went to them, and I realized someone that had similar interests to me was also coming here. So I had met up with her a couple times in person because she lived in my area, and then we decided to room together. So you can do that. If you meet someone prior, whether it's online or in person, however you decide to do it, or whatever is working for your situation. I know some students who also met someone like on Instagram but couldn't meet them in person and just did FaceTime calls. So whatever your situation is, if you meet someone before, you can request them coming in. If you do that, you can you just have to mutually have both parties agree, and then you'll end up being roommates. But you also can decide to go random here, and I find that going random actually brings a lot of student success. I know more students that are successful going random and are still living with their freshman year roommates from freshman year, their senior year. And that's really what I think is just because sometimes you love your friends, but you don't love their living style. And I think that can be a bit of a culture shock for students. It doesn't mean that your friends are bad people. It just means that it might not be the ideal situation for how you would like to live. And that's totally okay. But I think knowing yourself is one thing going in, and then also staying true to yourself while you're here as far as picking roommates goes. But being a freshman, those are pretty much the two options that you have. And then a good overview is really depending on what your room is like. I had an open double. I had friends in there all the time. We would play cards and listen to music and just enjoy our time together in that open space. But we also have a split double if that's not something you'd like your room to be like. You can have it a little bit more quieter, have it be more of a little place to come home that's cozy and comfy. You can still spend time with your roommate. I know someone who lived in a split double and they would sit on their one side together and just play cards and journal and do their thing. And that was cool too. So there's a couple of different options you have.
Awesome. That's great, Anna. And I'll just say as well that if you're wondering when this process will initiate, early summer right? So late May, June is when you're going to get a lot of emails once you've matriculated, and we know, who our incoming class is for sure. You'll get several emails from us. You can't miss it. So it's great to be excited and looking for all those opportunities. It will come with time. Enjoy this time, and we'll get the details sorted out. The housing application is where you can indicate a variety of these preferences that Anna just mentioned. So awesome. And another fun addition to the living opportunities here is what we call a living learning community, which Bijan has actually lived in herself. So give us an overview, Bijan, of what a living learning community is and what it's like.
Sure. So LLCs or living learning communities are kind of little communities. Typically on each floor, you can choose an LLC based on academic interest or based on non-academic interest. So I know there's a music LLC. I had a few friends there who used to play guitar and piano and all these different instruments. But I lived in the Maxwell LLC, so most of my floor were political science and international relations students. Just a good way to kind of know who's in your particular college, which is something I appreciated. Most of the academic LLCs have a credit requirement, so we all had to take a class, Max 123, which is one of my all-time favorite classes at Syracuse. And we would all go to breakfast before class at one of our dining halls, and then we'd walk up to the Maxwell School together, and we would all get looks from other kids like, why are there these 15 kids walking in together every week? And we like explained we're in the LLC and people were like shocked by it and, really happy for us. But I overall liked it. In terms of choosing an LLC, it is in that housing application. I believe you can pick, and Ava, correct me if I'm wrong, you can pick your top three, and then they'll place you wherever has availability.
And if you decide, no, I don't think I want to live in a living learning community, that's perfectly fine as well. You just don't fill out that part of the application. Great. Awesome overview. So, moving into some more questions about sort of the academic and social experience here at Syracuse. So, jumping back over to you, Javi, I know you spent time at our LA location and you're also a senior. So, I think this question is right up your alley. A student asks, what kind of internship or research opportunities have you had? And do you feel like Syracuse is setting you up well for your career after graduation? I'm sure those experiences play right into that.
Great question to whoever asked that. Um, so yes, last summer I was in Los Angeles with the Syracuse University Los Angeles Center. It was an incredible experience. You can do this during a regular semester, so in the fall or in the spring, but you can also do it over the summer. And every student that goes there is required to take this class, which is called an internship practicum. So it's a small one credit class, which basically fulfills your requirement of completing an internship at some point during your time at Syracuse, or at least like depending on the college you're in. So Newhouse, which is my home college, requires an internship to graduate. And while they told us that they were not gonna assign us an internship, they told us they were gonna provide any assistance as long as we got it for ourselves. So Syracuse in general does a fantastic job in preparing every student or providing the resources for students if they want to seek those resources, which if you go to Syracuse, you should. We have a career services center, which you could go to with any help for a resume, cover letter, or anything more similar to that. And most colleges also have their own versions of a career services. So Newhouse has a career development center, and I've been there a few times this past school year. Being a senior, needing to get a job, and they've given me like incredible like insight into how to find potential contacts on, let's say, the Syracuse University alumni page on LinkedIn. So let's say I want to move back to Madrid after graduation, I can go on the Syracuse University alumni LinkedIn and look up members and look up Madrid, and I can find some potential contacts. So when I was looking for internships for Los Angeles, I used those resources, LinkedIn, also Handshake, which is a similar job searching, internship searching um, uh, website similar to LinkedIn and Indeed. And that's actually how I got one of my two internships because I was able to do them part time. and it was incredible. Just super tailored to my interests, to what I was looking for. And I'll still have access to it after graduation, which is awesome.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. I love what you said there at the end too. You still have access to this after graduation. That's something that is just so unique about Syracuse is that even when you graduate, you could be 1 year out, 5 years out, 10 years out, 20 years out. You are still able to access all of our career support. Our Office of Alumni Engagement's fantastic. So if you're moving cities, perhaps moving countries, you want to access the network and you're opting into this network for the rest of your life. That's something I think that sets us apart from other places, that specific aspect. So, and Anna, I know I feel like you're my study abroad person. I'm still reeling in the secondhand enthusiasm from your study abroad experience. So you've got to tell our students here about what you've done because I'm still living in the excitement.
All right. So I decided to actually go to Javi's hometown in Spain, and I lived in Madrid for the fall semester of my junior year. Um, I was there from the first week of September all the way to December 13th. So almost a full 4 months I was there. Um, I did not know any Spanish before going to Madrid. Pretty much, I took Spanish in high school and in middle school, but really like I didn't keep it up because I don't have any Spanish speakers in my house or in my friend group before college. So I didn't really have anyone to continue the language with. And so when I went to Spain, I completely immersed myself in the culture as much as possible. All my friends in my program were all from different respective countries in Latin America, and a lot of them actually spoke fluent Spanish before I got there. And I decided to also live with a host family. So I got really immersed in the Madrid culture and I learned how to speak conversational Spanish. I got to explore all over the city. I also traveled to other countries while I was there. But it was really an amazing experience because I think something that our academic programs in other countries, especially when you study abroad, what they focus on is not only what you're learning in the classroom, but also your experiences through your travel. And I think that was really important, just kind of having room for free thought that you might not always have here when you're swamped with maybe like an 18 credit semester. I think that it was really nice to have that opportunity to be abroad and just learn a little bit about myself too and about the world. And I went to a Syracuse Center, which we have five of them, but you can also decide to go to a World Partner Program. And I know a number of students that have also had very similar experiences to me.
Excellent. Excellent. If that's not a seal of endorsement, I don't know what is. Awesome. Great. So Bijan, jumping back over to you, our panelist who has not one, not two, but three majors, which is incredible. I think this question was made for you. So how are you able to reconcile your academic work, so your studies, with your participation in different clubs and student organizations? How are you able to manage it all?
Yeah, sure. So one of the biggest pieces of advice I got when I was an incoming freshman, I was talking to a senior who had three majors and had all these clubs, and I said, "How do you do it? Like, I don't understand as an 18-year-old, still a teenager." And he said, "In your first semester, join as many clubs as you can, see what you like, see what you don't like, and you can start to weed them out." And that's what I did. I probably joined six or seven clubs, and I went to a couple of their club meetings and realized, okay, I don't necessarily want to do this, but I want to do this. And so that is how I've been able to figure out my time is going to the thing that I want to do and having time to read for classes, to do homework for classes, to study for exams. So that is
Mhm.
my biggest advice. Join everything you can and then just eliminate things.
Hmm. Absolutely. Great strategy. And Javi, you have multiple programs across schools and colleges. So the Newhouse School and also the Whitman School. So can you walk folks through your process of deciding to do that particular combination and what it's like to be a student across multiple schools and colleges? And I ask because this notion of a school or college within a larger university can be very different for folks coming out of high school. So can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, well, when I first came to Syracuse, I was neither in Newhouse or minoring in Whitman. I was actually a major at the College of Visual and Performing Arts at one of the other film majors that we have. So once I started, I talked to my parents and they believed it was good. It would be very much beneficial if I added a minor in something business related. And I looked at what the Woodman School of Management offered, and I was really intrigued by the entrepreneurship program. It is just, other than the fact that it's very unique, it is also very well ranked, and I had heard great things about the professors. So halfway through my freshman year, I added the entrepreneurship minor, and as I moved on to my sophomore year, early in my sophomore year, I looked more into my current major in the, as I call it, the other film major in the Nihao School of Public Communications, and saw that it was more of a fit with what I wanted to do professionally. So I explored transferring colleges like from the visual and performing arts into Newhouse within SU. That is called an intra-university transfer. It's actually very common, and there's a lot of students who do it. Even if you want to add a major that's outside of your outside of the college you're currently majoring in, it's a very common process. And yeah, I did that. It went very well for me, and yeah, now I'm receiving an education on film and television that's very specific about the film and entertainment industry. And it also allowed me to go to Los Angeles. So that was just overall an incredible opportunity. It's really preparing me for the industry. I'm taking a class right now that's pretty much about pitching potential projects. Last week we had to pitch a horror franchise. On Wednesday we have a project that's called My Client Wants an Oscar, and we have to pitch a film with a actor who's never won an Oscar that could really give them a chance to win. And on the other hand, my Woodman minor in entrepreneurship has just given me a background on business and specifically on how small businesses are ran. I want to own or open up my own production company someday. And it's good to have the insight of, well, I have my knowledge on film and the industry on one hand, and just business on the other hand. So that's a great combination for what I want to do. And yeah, very happy that I've gotten that. And definitely when I was looking at universities to come to, I was looking at universities that were incredibly well-rounded and complete. And Syracuse just stood out. You walk around campus, you ask 20 people what they each study, and everyone studies something different, but they're still incredibly happy with what they're studying. So I do think that's truly remarkable.
That's awesome. And I think what is awesome about what you just said too is even though you started in a third, so I'm pretty sure we have all schools or colleges covered, and all four of us now that you've said that, which I actually didn't know, Javi. And we've talked a lot. So what's cool about that is even though you switched programs entirely, switched schools and colleges, all of those credits were building and helping you progress towards degree completion. So all of your credits, whether it be in a program that you end up switching out of or transferring into, or just being electives that you take for fun, do contribute to your overall degree, which really makes, to Javi's point, a well-rounded experience. Awesome. And jumping back over to you, Anna, because you have so many roles, you wear so many hats and have so many different and fun, exciting jobs on campus. There was a question in the Q&A about how students can look for specific job opportunities while they're a student here, which is what we've all done because we're all here on this panel. So can you walk through that process?
So coming to Syracuse, was given a work study opportunity immediately as a freshman. So I knew that I was going to want a job at least early freshman year so that I could start contributing and taking advantage of that. So Syracuse has a platform called Handshake, which is a public platform similar to LinkedIn, where companies can post positions that are open and jobs that you can apply to and internships as well. And Syracuse actually uses this platform to publish all of its work study jobs. And so on my freshman year, like first or second week, I browsed through Handshake, applied for as many things as I thought was interesting. There are even modeling positions in the art school. If you would like to be a model for the painters, trust me, I applied for everything because I really didn't know where to start at first. But then I realized quickly that a lot of these positions you apply for are really just small little communities on campus that you just have to get to know. So I ended up getting a position at the Syracuse University daycare here, and I was an assistant teacher for them for 2 years. And then I was offered a position in one of our first year seminar classes to be a teaching assistant. And I was offered the position. It was an easy application. I was like, might as well throw my hat in the ring. It was only for one semester to see how I liked it. So I did that for a little while. And then I actually knew someone who was a tour guide, and she was in my writing class first semester. It was a required writing class. And once I realized that you could apply and this was a paid position, I was like, oh my God, I really want to try and see if I can get this job. And I texted her and she was like, oh, I'll put in a good word. And I ended up getting a slot to be a tour guide. And then pretty much from then on, it kind of just became simple. People just started coming to me versus me really applying to as much as possible. So I think the pool of how easy it is to find a job, it will get easier and easier the more you penetrate the workspace here on campus because people will learn about your work ethic and you'll kind of be offered different opportunities along the way. So that's what I've found. I found that once I put in the work freshman year, then all the opportunities kind of came to me. And then it was just up to me to apply and go see what they were like. So that was how I
Mhm.
kind of had an experience with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such an interesting, way to get all of your positions. What I like is you emphasize the word of mouth aspect too, because while we do have these platforms, you just knowing somebody who potentially was in a role that you wanted to be in was awesome too. Fun fact, I actually got my first job on campus during Welcome Week during my first year orientation. So we were just walking around to a bunch of tables, and I went up to the table for our learning center, which is known as the Center for Learning and Student Success, which houses all of our tutoring and various learning resources. And they were hiring for an office assistant. So I basically got my job right there on the spot. I went to my job day one. I actually went to my job the first, like before I even went to my first college class, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, don't discount just going up and walking up to people and seeing, if they need help with something, because you never know what that can turn into. And I remember sitting like in the student center with my mom, taking a break from all the Welcome Week activities and thinking, do I want to walk back up to the quad to go check out, this particular thing? And I'm so glad that I said yes to that, because that's the interaction that got me my first job. So pretty cool there, I would say. Awesome. Great. So a couple final questions as we wrap up here. So going back over to Bijan here. So how popular is Greek life on campus? Can you get a bit of an overview of the opportunities both in and outside of Greek life?
Yeah, sure. And again, I'm in DC. I'm a little rusty, so Anna, Javi, if I miss anything, feel free to pipe up. Greek life is an option. It's definitely not a required one. So you by no means have to join, although I always say, go ahead and talk to sororities and fraternities. We do for our social Greek life, we do Spring Rush, and so you get the fall to kind of talk to people, talk to your friends, talk to upperclassmen, see what they think of it before you take the leap. But we also have, in addition to our social Greek life, we do a professional Greek life as well. And I know they do recruiting both in the fall and the spring. So lots of opportunities to talk to all of our Greek life activities. Oh, and also during
Mhm.
Welcome Week, I think there's like a section where you can go talk to different ones too.
Mhm. Awesome. And Javi, question for you. Favorite spot on campus we're visiting in a couple of weeks? What do you think, Javi?
Well, I this is gonna be a very basic answer. Um, like yes, I love the outdoors. And when you come visit campus, if it's sunny outside, you're gonna find all of it beautiful, especially the Hall of Languages and Krause College and Krause Hill. But my favorite spot on campus is the Dome. It is just the most fun place to be. You're gonna spend a lot of time there because obviously our football team plays there, but also our men's and women's basketball teams and our men's and women's lacrosse teams. And there's also concerts, which some of them are even organized by the university. Others are just concerts that, for example, Elton John and Paul McCartney have performed in the past, and it's just they just chose the Dome out of every place in upstate New York to perform in. It is just like truly for me it does it is a bit of a magical place. Like my favorite memory there, or my favorite memory on campus has is last year when the Syracuse football team beat upset number 5 ranked University of Miami. My brother was in attendance, the first football game he's ever been to, and it was a huge win. We rushed the field, took pictures with the football players. Um, it was an incredible experience, and I had just so many fantastic memories at the Dome. And that I'm sure that if everyone here ends up attending Syracuse, you will make just incredible memories at the Dome. It's hard not to say.
Yeah, that's true. Awesome. Final question before we go around and give our closing thoughts. I'll send this one over to Anna. So this student asks, are there faith-based communities on campus for students?
Yeah, actually, funny enough, me and Javi go to Sunday Mass at the Catholic Center every single week together. Father Jerry is absolutely wonderful, and we have brunch every Sunday in the Catholic Center. But there are a number of different faith-based organizations all across campus. Some of them have their own independent homes on campus, what I like to say, so their own little home colleges. So the Catholic Center is also right next to SU Hillel. And then we also have Hendricks Chapel, which offers a number of different interfaith-based organizations and services. So there are a number of different places where you can fulfill those spiritual needs you might have here. But if we don't have something you're looking for, we typically can find you a space to do that on campus, or you can start something on campus, or we can actually have transport take you to a faith-based organization in the city that offers what you're looking for.
hmm Awesome. And a final question, kind of lied a little bit. I'll send it over to Anna too, because I know you work with our veterans population and yet another one of your roles. So this student asks, can you comment on a strong military or veteran community on campus? And then we'll do our final round.
Yeah. It's honestly like the best kept secret, I think. I'm looking to professionally enter the military space as a lawyer. But pretty much every single person who's on faculty and staff here that I interact with every single day, aside from my lovely admissions people, pretty much everyone is a veteran in some respect. In the National Veterans Resource Center, my research lab is run by a Navy veteran. The woman that I intern for in the law school, she is an Army veteran herself. So I have a number of different faculty and staff that I interact with on a daily basis that are all veterans. A third of our student population is veteran and military affiliated, and we have Air Force and Army ROTC. So if that's a community you'd like to penetrate during your time here at Syracuse, you can either become a part of those organizations or see what they're like, or you could become like me and get involved in research and work with different people on campus in that community as well without actually committing to the military. So there are a couple of different options to get involved in that space.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna. All right. So this brings us to the end of our wonderful session here. I just am truly feel privileged and honored to be able to share the space with all of you here. Anna, Bijan, and Javi, I think you're just such tremendous ambassadors for all of our students, both current and future students here. So thank you so much for joining. And for all of you at home, we'd like to attend or end all of our tours that we give on campus with a little bit of a why Syracuse, why we chose Syracuse and why we stay at Syracuse. So we'll go around one more time and share that and we'll conclude. So Bijan, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so well, a little bit of background. My dad is a Syracuse alum, grew up seeing the dome upstairs whenever I walk in my bedroom. And I said for 17 years that I would not follow in his footsteps and I would not become a member of the Orange family. And stepping
No.
foot on campus after I had committed, I realized I made the best decision. One of the ambassadors who I had talked to talked about his experiences in DC. And at that moment, I said, spring semester of my junior year, I will be in the nation's capital. And here I am, spring semester of my junior year in DC with the Maxwell School. So that was one of my big reasons for coming, was just to get that off-campus experience. Obviously, I come from Texas. I grew up with sports. I heard the stories about the dome. I didn't believe the stories about the dome until I witnessed my first football game in the dome, and then I said, "Yep, this is what it's all about." So there are two really big things about why I came to Syracuse, and the third thing was alumni and networking. Looking towards after college, after graduation, Syracuse offers so many networking spaces just to be able to talk to alum, to go grab coffee with them. I've done that a few times here in DC, and just to see what other people are doing after they've graduated from Syracuse.
Mhm. Wonderful. Thank you. Anna.
So when I was in high school, I thought that I was going to live home, be a commuting student, and I was going to be a nursing major. And then I actually had a family friend of mine who never went to Syracuse, but was obsessed with Syracuse basketball and told me that I needed to go to Syracuse. And so I had toured a number of different colleges, and I ended up not seeing Syracuse until the very last college visit. And I said to my mom, I was like, why don't we go see what it's like? We've never been up there. And so I went up here and we walked onto campus. I actually told parents this today. My mom, she looked at me, and the moment she saw my face light up on campus, she kind of looked at me and she was like, I hope you hate it here. Only because she didn't really know what this world was like. I'm the first in my family to go away to college, and she was a little scared that we weren't going to be able to make it happen. But Syracuse definitely helps me make it happen. And something that really sold me on this community was the fact that you can be a small fish in a big pond or a big fish in a small pond. And I think that was really important for me to have. And also, the snow was actually a big seller for me. I am a competitive skier. I have been my whole life, and I really wanted to experience what that community was like in college. And something really important, which was my final reason, was because I felt that Syracuse, aside from other schools that I had applied to, they were not only going to teach me how to graduate in 4 years, but who I wanted to serve in the community. And I think that's exactly what Syracuse did. And so that was why I decided to come here.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna. Javi, close us out.
Yeah, beyond academics, I just wanted to find a place that, as an international student, I wouldn't just be calling my university for 4 years, but that I could actually call my home away from home. As cheesy as that sounds, it's true. That's what I was looking for. And yeah, when I found Syracuse, I just believed it was incredibly complete in the way, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the way academics are, and also the way student life is, and everything that is offered to the students, like all the resources, professional or not. And I just I looked at it and was okay, very interesting. I applied. I didn't think much of it early on, and then once I got in, first thing I did was look at YouTube videos about student life, and wow, those videos just like blew me away. I saw videos about the dome, student life, like everything I'd heard about or like researched on, but I was seeing videos of it and I was like, oh wow, it actually is true. So yeah, I decided to visit in April of 2022 with my parents. My parents wanted to see what all the fuss was about. I was telling them, guys, it's pretty cool. And yeah, they were here for one day, loved it. When we got back, I committed, and 4 years later, one of the best decisions I've ever made. And I believe they would say the same thing. Yeah, just been overall an amazing experience. I've met amazing people like Bijan and Anna, and yeah, just grown so much as a person and as an academic.
That's awesome. Awesome. My face hurts. I'm smiling so much, but that's fantastic, Javi. Thank you so much. And we're so much, we're so privileged to have you here. And I'm so glad that you were able and your parents were able to make the trip to see Syracuse in person, because that's just fantastic and such, I'm sure, a vote of confidence to you that really sealed the deal. So thank you so much, and thank you all for your hard work. So thank you, folks, for attending tonight. We hope this has been helpful and it's just given you a taste of what that Syracuse enthusiasm and that Syracuse spirit is like. Those videos that Javi mentioned being really important to him, you can find many more on our social media. You can follow our U100 organization at Syracuse U100 on Instagram. Whenever there's a student takeover, a day in the life, I am all about that. Still watch those all the time. They're so much fun. So please do so as well. And if we didn't answer your question tonight, or if you have any other questions that come up in the future, you can reach out to us at any time at orange@syr.edu. Thank you again. And as a reminder, we have daily 10:30 a.m. admitted student tours. If you would like to come to campus, if you would like to come back to campus, if you've already been, we'd love to see you. Thank you so much, everyone. We hope you've had a wonderful evening. Thank you again. Good night and go Orange.
Yeah.
Go Orange.